All right, everybody, welcome back to another eBay store review. I wanted to thank Occupation Holiday, which is the user of the store we're reviewing today, for allowing me to post this on YouTube and help other resellers. If you're interested in getting your own eBay store reviewed or your Poshmark closet, there will be a link down below, a link where you can click to purchase one of those reviews. We do send a pre-review questionnaire, and in that questionnaire, it will ask if you give us permission to post your review on YouTube or not. And it's totally okay if you say no, but as this one today, it is very helpful if you do allow us to post it on YouTube just to help other resellers. But that option is down below if you are interested. So far, it's been really good. We have had a lot of great feedback from everybody that we've given reviews to, and I hope it's also helpful to everybody viewing today. So today I've got an eBay store review, and this is Occupation Holiday. So first off, I can tell you have an actual store, which is really good. I can tell just by the structure here, you can see that it's the structure of a store, which is good. It probably means that you are paying less per your listing insertions and probably your fees as well. So we do try to see, are you just a user or are you a store, and could you be saving money by having a store subscription? I'm not sure which one you have, but I do like seeing that you have an actual store. I think it looks very nice, and I absolutely love the name Occupation Holiday. Like, I want that to be my occupation. This is being on the beach. I love it. So I really like your store art. You've got a really nice banner. It's consistent with your logo here. That was really nice to see. I can see you've got some followers. I mean, you have a good foundation here on eBay. I love that you also did a little bit of about us. If we go there, I always say it's an opportunity to just create buyer confidence, and you do say, a little bit about your business, and you talk about the condition. So I was really happy to see that. Overall, very clean, nice appearance, very inviting. So scrolling down, I'm just going to go to see all of your items. Okay. And from here, we are going to sort by newly listed and take a look at some of your most recent listings. So we're going to dive deep into some of your photos, but just at a quick glance, your store and your items do have a very clean, presentable appearance. And less the stock photos, the photos you're taking seem to be pretty consistent. They're all staged about the same way. They've got about the same lighting and the same white background, so that was really nice to see. Diving a little bit deeper into your photos, I have notes here beside me, so I'm going to be reading off of those. I said overall good photos and good details. I did notice that some of your items have more details than others. One suggestion I have, let's just pull up a couple here. One suggestion I have is just to make sure to use up as many photos as you can. You did a pretty good job in this one of including a ton of details. And I think eBay gives 10 or 12 photos. Either way, I would definitely use them up. I did notice you have a lot of stock photos, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Okay, so we've got this Chico's cardigan sweater, for instance. We only have with exception to this size chart, which I do like that you included that because Chico sizing can be a little bit difficult. You've only got 5 photos. So as you're taking photos, I would definitely recommend adding as many as possible to get some more close-up details. Are you doing a bad job with photos and the details? Absolutely not. I think you're giving just enough that the buyer can feel confident making a purchasing decision. I did notice, again, there were quite a few stock photos. I would just highly recommend, I'm only saying this because I've gotten in trouble on eBay before, to get rid of the stock photos. It really sucks because I know stock photos really do show, the way an item is supposed to fit or the way it's supposed to be styled. But unfortunately, you can get in a lot of trouble for it, and I don't want to see you get your eBay account shut down. They are really strict with it. So if I were you, I would work on a way to basically create a stock photo yourself, which is what we've been doing over the last year after I got in trouble and had to take all of my stock photos down off of eBay. So just wanted to caution you on that. I understand why people use them, but again, just be careful, and if you can, limit your use of the stock photos. And then the other thing I saw was I can definitely tell that you're not using a square sizing when you're taking photos. All of your pictures have this, what I think is the default setting on your phone of the rectangle pictures, which this one actually does look square, but you might have zoomed in, will create these bars on the edge of your screen, and you can only show so much of the picture. If you do a square size, it'll fill up this entire box, and that's how you're going to optimize your photos and bring your photos to life, is filling up this entire square. So when you're in your camera app, I have Android, you may have iPhone, but I think it kind of works the same way. When you are about to take a picture, there should be some settings on your screen. Change the sizing to a 1:1 ratio or a square setting. In that way, you're going to fill up this entire square. And this is just with every platform. I think I asked you on your questionnaire, and you did say that you sold a little bit, you dabbled on other platforms, but you were not consistent with them like eBay. If you do decide to go, full force on some other platforms as well, same thing, a square photo is going to be the best optimized version. So I think once you change it, it will default to a square setting until you change it again. So I would just change your photo camera settings to square sizing, and you're going to see a big difference in your photos, and it's going to again fill up more of the page instead of having these blocks here on the side. So overall, you're taking some pretty decent photos. Maybe add a couple more details. Again, eliminate the stock photos if you can, and then a square setting is going to make a huge difference on your photos. If you do nothing else, I still think you have pretty decent photos, and they're obviously working for you because I see that you have quite a bit of items that you've sold. All right, moving on to your titles. Your titles look great. You're using like all of the characters. I know recently in a lot of the store and closet reviews, we talked about people not using up all of the characters. You're doing that. So I really like your titles. I think you're doing a great job with that. You're including key details, you're including sizing, and then you're adding in some keywords with whatever you have left. Love to see that. The only suggestion that I have for you is I did notice you sell some brands that have vanity sizing, which means for anyone viewing, stuff that has basically their own size chart and doesn't convert to regular sizing. Chico's is one of those. I think I saw some Torrid stuff. Yeah, here's a Torrid. So even though there are people that buy Torrid are probably familiar with their sizing, I think it's going to do a lot better for you to have the actual US converted size in there. That's my personal opinion. Or you could include both. So instead of saying plus size 3, you could say plus size 3X or whatever that translates to, or plus size 3X 3, and include both in your title. Especially with stuff like Chico's. It seems like you've done it a little bit on some of your listings, but if you could get to doing that in all of them, I think you might have better luck in search if you're including the US sizing. And that's really all I had to say about your titles. They're really good. Moving on to your descriptions, I did pull up a few of them here. So let's go into your details. The first thing I wrote down on my notes was, wow, great job on item specifics. You are filling in so much on your item specifics. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're filling in more than we're filling in. You've got a ton here. Is it necessary to fill every single drop down out? No, it's not. I noticed here on character, you've got some dashes. If you would have just left that blank, this would not have shown up. It is better to just go ahead and leave your drop downs blank if you don't have, if you can't select from their drop downs, rather than typing something in or, putting something like NA or dashes or whatever. it's better to just go ahead and leave it blank and not let that show up at all. It will hinder you in search, and let's just face it, you're adding stuff on here that doesn't necessarily need to be on. So other than that, you're doing a great job at your item specifics. You're adding so much. I almost think you could get away with putting less in. Stuff that doesn't really matter is like personalized. No. People are probably not going to use that drop down, and so would you save yourself time by maybe not worrying about the drop downs that don't necessarily matter? Probably so. Here's that character again, but great job in filling everything out. The only thing I would change is, again, try not to select anything and just leave it completely blank if nothing applies. And I think you're doing a great job on item specifics. Looking into your actual description, you also include a ton of information in your description, which was really nice to see. We've got stuff about the condition, smoke-free home, clean and sanitize. Please view photos for a better description. All items are washed. You say a lot of stuff in it, and then we include the measurements. And then at the very end, we talk again, and I think this is just you kind of having a safeguard for yourself in case of a return. But unfortunately on eBay, people can still come back and force a return on you. So I don't really think all of this stuff is necessary. I think you're saying the same thing in multiple lines, clean and sanitize, all items are washed. Is there a way that you can condense all of that down to say the same thing but in a few sentences? And then just your structure of this. Again, I love all the details. I don't think you necessarily need to put your title in here. Again, that's something you could eliminate. I would start to find a way to condense what you're saying the same thing but saying it in less words. And the only reason I say that is because you are putting a lot of effort into your description, which is a good thing, but I think it overwhelms buyers when they see a ton of information in the description and they're probably not going to read it. My other suggestion to you is to put the most important information at the top. So I would say your measurements should probably go to the top of this, your condition and your measurements to the top, and then push everything else that you want to say back down to the bottom of your listing. That way buyers are seeing this. If they decide, I'm not going to read all of this, at least they'll read the first couple sentences with your measurements, which is going to, again, help prevent someone from returning it for item does not fit. So all in all, love all the information you're providing, but is there a way that you can condense into just a couple sentences and say a little less while saying the same thing? Great job including measurements, by the way. All right, so moving on from your listing details, let's talk a little bit about your quality of items. Just going to close out of these. Okay, still sorted by newly listed. I scrolled through some of your most recent listings, so I assume these are things that you're most recently picking up. And my notes on this were, overall, these are items that I would pick up with a pretty decent sell-through rate. I did do the calculation for the sell-through rate on your store at the time of taking my notes. You had 399 items sold, and that's a 90-day total, so I divided that by 3, which means on average 133 items sold within a month, and then I divided that by your total items, which was 831 results. That's how I personally calculate a store sell-through rate. When I did that, you had a 16% sell-through rate on eBay. That's outstanding, which I've kind of talked about this before, but most clothing resellers fall at about a 10% sell-through rate. So anything way above that, which by the way you are at a 16% sell-through rate, is outstanding. So you're doing something right. You're picking up items that buyers want. And then when we go to pricing, you're pricing very fairly. And I notice you also include best offer on a lot of things, which I think is also helping to really pick up your sales. And yeah, your sell-through rate's just really good. And I think there's a lot of things that you're doing right to create that snowball effect where you're having consistent sales every day. Speaking of consistency, I did notice that you are listing something pretty much every day. You're listing consistently, meaning frequently, but you're not listing the same amount every day. Some days you list, a lot of items. Some days I noticed there's only a handful. I asked you what your listing goal was. You had some big goals. I don't know if it was a typo or if you really mean this, but you said between 100 and 200 items a week. That's a lot. That is a big, big goal. Totally doable, but that is a big, big goal. You're listing quite a few items on a weekly basis. I'm looking at these dates here and you are listing very consistently. I would just say, like I say to everybody, since you do have a consistent listing habit, is there a way that you can go ahead and hold back on some of the days where you're listing a bunch? Hold back and find a way to list the same amount of items every single day, because while you are doing a great job, you'll be able to boost your sales just a tad more if you were listing the same amount every single day. And I also think that maybe it would take a little bit of pressure off of you to just have a set amount and just know that the right amount of items are going to get listed every day. Maybe you could schedule them, maybe you could leave them in a draft bank and just set them active every day. But in general, great job. If you do nothing else, I still think you're going to see consistent sales because you are listing something every day. But if you want the extra boost, try to find a way to list the same amount every single time. So you're listing consistently again every single day. And I actually went back a few pages and you didn't just do it for my benefit. You've been doing that for a while. If we go to your solds, you'll see that your sales will follow. You're selling something pretty much every day. I'm going to guess the days where you list more, you're having bulkier sales. So if you want to have consistent sales every day, list the same amount of items every day. But in general, you are doing an absolutely fantastic job in listing and having consistent sales every day. Let's take a look at your feedback. First of all, you have 100% positive feedback, so congratulations, that's amazing. And as I was scrolling through your feedback, again, all positive, the consensus that I saw was that you had really great packaging and you had really great items. So people are loving the condition and they think you do a really great job packaging. So kudos to you on the amazing feedback, and I would just continue into leaning into what you're good at. So overall, my takeaways for you is extremely great job on what you're doing. The biggest, things that I could see where you could improve if you're looking to improve is really getting into those photos, changing to a square ratio. I think that's going to make a big difference. Getting rid of your stock photos, only saying that because I'm worried you're going to get in trouble with eBay. And then really cutting down your description a little bit, saying the same thing that you're trying to say, but maybe in less words, and bringing the most important information to the top of your description, I think will also make a big difference with your buyers. Overall, great job with your listing consistency. That's usually the hardest part for people as to why they're not making sales. That's not an issue for you. You're making sales every day. But again, if you want a little bit of a boost in your sales, find a way to list the same amount every day. Overall, fantastic job. Love your store. You are doing an absolutely fantastic job, and I really enjoyed reviewing your store. Thank you to everybody who's watching. If you would like to be notified next time a store review or a Poshmark closet review goes live, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell down below if you haven't already. That way you will be notified by YouTube. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.